All right. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on where you're at in the world. This is your man, the Love Doc, and this is our first edition of Late Night with the Love Doc, where we will be discussing sports, business, and culture. At this time, I ask that you please like, share, and subscribe to my channel as I look to discuss current events of the day, topics that is in the news, and just give a different perspective. So please come in and just cop a squat and sit and chill for a little while. So as you can see, I'm live at my house and at my spot and in the lab working and about to turn in a little while, but a couple of these things is on my mind, so I figured why not get on, and discuss it and talk about it. So hopefully you can get some feedback, and please feel free to. This is a safe space. This is a zen, if you want to put it that way. And any feedback and input, we definitely appreciate it. Thank you for in advance for your participation, for your support. We do not take it for granted, and thanking you in advance. So first up, just watched some NBA basketball tonight. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and this is personally for me the only time that I really watch the NBA. I play fantasy basketball, so I don't have a team, and I don't really watch pro basketball because, quite honestly, I don't feel like they really play basketball until the playoffs. It's just not the best product. I think it's bad as a former high school basketball coach and AAU coach. I just think it sets a kind of a bad example for the young kids with how they kind of go about it, how they just kind of take their time, how they go through the motions during the regular season. Unless it's games like rivalry games or like Christmas time. I always say after Christmas time, I feel like they kind of start playing for real. But in any event, during the playoffs, they play for real. So it's like you really getting good quality basketball. So tonight, was no different. First we had the Indiana Pacers playing against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the Cleveland Cavaliers on the east side, they were the number one seed all year long, had a great regular season, had a lot of anticipation going into the playoffs. Probably the most anticipation they've had since they had, LeBron and Kyrie and those guys over there competing for championships. Well, I guess somebody forgot to tell the Indiana Pacers that they were supposed to not be. They were supposed to be the underdog. The Indiana Pacers was like the third seed, but they were a very like scary. I think they were the fourth seed, maybe. They're a very kind of mid seed team because it's kind of like classic. They are better than their record showing. You hear that a lot in sports, but in this case, it was kind of true. Indiana plays very fast. They're athletic. They have a deep bench. They have a Hall of Fame coach in Rick Carlisle, and and it was obvious kind of early on in this series that they just had something that Cleveland didn't. It kind of seemed like Cleveland was just missing something. Like they're missing. I don't know if it's like another superstar. I mean, although they have Donovan Mitchell who was playing lights out for them, but it just seemed like they had enough. And watching the playoffs, you kind of wonder how they got to be a one seed. There are a lot of people that criticize them getting that one seed, but you go out the regular season and you win the games, you get the seed. But in today's NBA, with the load management and guys playing when they feel like playing, and you know, you don't necessarily get, in my opinion, a true account. That one seed is subjective because everybody's not playing their guys all of the games. So if Cleveland's playing all their guys, and like a Indiana is not, or a New York Knicks team is not, then it could be fool's gold almost. And that's kind of what ended up happening because Indiana was clearly the better team throughout the entire playoffs, or not playoffs, through their entire series. And tonight they, in Cleveland, they closed them out, and they won the series 4-1, so they move on to the Eastern Conference Finals for the second time, and they went last year also. But it just seems like it feels a little different this year, primarily because I don't know if it's a year older and they just kind of gelling a little more, but they look very fluid. And I told one of my frat brothers earlier, I love how Indiana's playing right now. Now, I'm not saying they're going to win it all, but they definitely are impressive right now, and they move on to the finals by knocking off Cleveland tonight in 5 games, and they await the winner of the New York Knicks versus the Boston Celtics. And I don't think anybody really thought that New York would be up 3-1 on Boston at this point. I saw where Jason Tatum just went down with an Achilles injury, and so he's out. And so things don't look good for the Celtics. And my best friend, T. Neal, he's a humongous Boston Celtics fan. So I know I haven't messed with him yet. You hear me saying yet because I'm a diehard Duke Blue Devil basketball fan, and sometimes I'll get it. Duke they kind of my Duke Blue Devils. Oh man, they hurt me deep this year. I thought this was a year to get our next ship. I thought we had the perfect team, the perfect setup, perfect blend of everything, and it was heartbreak. It was heartbreak. So it's hard to flash back to that. But I am happy, that even though my team didn't win the championship in college, that one of the kids that we've been following with my podcast, with my Poke Hoops podcast, and just kind of sports information network that we kind of been able to do from my hometown, from Polk County, from Lakeland, Florida. We have a started a sports information kind of promotion company called Poke Hoops, and one of our guys that we first started kind of featuring and kind of promoting is Walt Clayton. And if you follow college basketball, Walt Clayton single-handedly destroyed the NCAA tournament this year, en route leading Florida, his team, to the national championship. And so he's one of our guys. And so if Duke didn't win, Walt won. So, that's a small consolation, very small, but we'll take it. But I'm saying that to say that the Boston Celtics are in trouble. And T. Neal, I'm so sorry if you're watching this, that they're in trouble. And so the Knicks had 2 big pickups. They picked up Big Cat Towns from Minnesota, and they also picked up Mikal Bridges from I don't know where they got him from. But anyway, they picked both those guys up, and that kind of solidified their team a little bit because now all of the load does not have to be on Jalen Brunson. And so they've been playing very well, and they look, and barring something significant, they look like they're going to close out Boston, especially with Tatum down. And so you got a situation where you got Indiana, New York for a chance to go to the NBA Finals. And I don't think anybody had those two in the conference finals in the East. And if they do, I need to sit at their feet, I guess, and lean from them, because there's no way nobody picked Indiana and the Knicks to be in the conference final. But they're both. It's not about who they pick; it's about who's playing the best at the right time, and those two teams are. So that would make for an intriguing conference finals, because they both are kind of a contrast in styles. They both have deep benches. They both Indiana plays very fast. New York is kind of gritty, kind of grimy. And so it'd be interesting to see which team can get the other team to impose their will, they can impose their will on the other team and get themselves a chance to win a series and make it to the NBA Finals. So doesn't look like Boston's going to repeat unless there's some type of. I mean, they haven't lost yet, but it's not official. But the fat lady is she's on deck. She's on deck. She's tuning up. She's getting herself ready, barring some kind of miracle. But people have come back from 3-1 before. I just don't see Boston doing it, especially without Jason Tatum. So that's the NBA kind of thing from playoff perspective. Last night there was the NBA draft lottery, and it truly was a lottery because the team that won the right for the first pick, which which conceivably will be, Cooper Flag from my guys Duke, is the Dallas Mavericks. Now Dallas had a 1% or something chance, percentage chance to win that first pick, and they won it. So that's the beauty of the NBA lottery, that it never always goes according to plan, because I don't think anybody got Dallas winning the lottery. And you can see on social media, on Twitter, that a lot of the NBA players were like trolling, or like, it was trending like, you got to be kidding me. I think LeBron just did like 5 or 6 crying, laughing emojis, because now you got Cooper Flag, who is, a generational talent, not like anybody we've seen in, recent memory, as far as one and dones. He goes to the Dallas Mavericks with Kyrie Irving, another Duke guy. They got Klay Thompson, Anthony Davis, that just got from the Lakers, um, and Flag, and then you got Gafford, you got PJ Washington, you got Lively, another Duke guy, and very quickly Dallas looks a whole lot different when healthy. And in today's NBA, you got to say that. So if you got a healthy Kyrie, a healthy Anthony Davis with those other guys, and a healthy, Klay Thompson, man, and then he's in a situation where he doesn't have to come in and be the man. He doesn't have to come in and have all that pressure on him. He can just come hoop. I mean, because you literally have multiple stars around you, and will be getting the focus as long as they're playing. So I think it's an absolute dream for Cooper Flag that Dallas wanted to pick. And I saw today where Dallas said they're not trading the pick. You got some people saying trade and get value for it and get draft picks, try to package something to go get Giannis. I personally don't think that's the way to go. I think they need to sit tight and get Cooper Flag and keep what they have, and just add him to the mix, because they're not that far off. I mean, they're not that far off at all. Giannis will create a lot of buzz if he, hits the market like it's looking like he probably will. It looks like his time at Milwaukee, it's been great, but it's a thing of the past. And he's going to have a lot of interest. He's not even 30 years old. Houston seems like very, very like Houston has a nice young team, and they just seem like they're one like superstar away, or one veteran, or one leader away. And you plug Giannis into Houston, you plug Cooper Flag into Dallas, along with the other kind of powerhouses in the West, and man, that thing just continues to get stronger and stronger. So that's kind of where we are with the NBA. So tomorrow night, or I guess tonight, since we're kind of late night right now, you have Minnesota trying to close out Golden State, and Golden State, you hate that they're not full speed. With Steph out, that's a major injury, and those guys are still battling and fighting and playing and giving themselves a chance to win. It's just it's hard to overcome something, a generational all-time guy like Steph. So give credit to them, and they got pride. They're not making an excuse. They're going out and they battling. It's just I don't think they have enough. So I think that Minnesota will close them out tomorrow night and head to the finals, and the OKC Denver game series, I think, is going to go 7. Whoever comes out is going to be kind of wore out. So I really think Minnesota has a great opportunity to get to the finals. So, man, just imagine the NBA Finals. Let's just say, no disrespect, but let's just keep it real. Minnesota and Indiana. Ooh, I don't think TV people are setting the line for that scenario. But that's kind of, putting the cart before the wheel. But so that's the NBA playoffs, and that's kind of, just our kind of recap on that as it goes. So kind of switching beat. I saw something on YouTube a little while ago when I was getting myself ready for my inaugural Late Night with the Luv Doc show that we got going right now. And it was asking the question, is Atlanta the black Mecca? And he was interviewing different millionaires, and he said something about the most black millionaires in America they reside in one place, resides in here in Atlanta, in the city of Atlanta. And I guess I'm not necessarily in Atlanta. I'm in Georgia, but I'm not in Atlanta. Um, I know the song the lady made, Robert made, about you not from Atlanta, certain places. One thing about me, I never had any interest in saying I'm in Atlanta. I'm from Atlanta. But I do have family here. Like my brothers are all from Atlanta. All my brothers are from Atlanta. My dad, after he got in the military, he moved here to Atlanta, and kind of that's where he's been ever since. So I do have family and plenty of friends, But the thing is, I'm from Florida, and what you hear is move to Atlanta to make it. Move to Atlanta to make it, and a lot of people move to Atlanta. A lot of people don't make it, and a lot of people put on, for social media. But there are some people that are doing some great things in Atlanta, and I guess one of the big things the guy was saying is that it's so much opportunity, um, and so many people that are not doing the whole crab in the barrel thing, and that's a big thing. I mean, me and my fiance, she went a couple weeks ago and got a car, a company car, and this guy that works in the dealership where we were at, he just came and sat down and just started talking to us. Didn't know the guy from Mechanic Paint. He was not the finance guy that did the deal for the vehicle. But he just came and looked at the paperwork and saw that we were in education, we got a nonprofit group, and doing some things, trying to continue to build what we have going. And he just came over and just started talking. I mean, and he's a finance manager in the car dealership, but he owns like 4 or 5 businesses, and he's just giving us game. He's giving us free game, just telling us this is how he set this up. This is how he did this. And this is what you can do, and if you want to do this. I mean, just stuff we weren't even asking for. And he was freely giving us the information. He wasn't trying to charge for it. He wasn't setting up a website. He wasn't talking about seminars and all this kind of stuff, or just being a crab and just like, I got the information, you don't, too bad, so sad. And that, in a lot of places, that's the reality. People get the information however they get it, and they keep it. They gatekeep. They don't feel like they should have to share anything. They don't feel like they should. I figured it out. You figured it out yourself. And they don't believe in the paying it forward type mentality. Well, the thing that I notice the most in Metro Atlanta and Georgia, in the area, since I've been here, is that that's not necessarily the case. It's not a lot of crabs, and I mean, admittedly, I'm not like out in every circle, but just in my experience, people don't mind giving you the game. Like, they don't mind sharing stuff with you. They don't see you as a threat. They don't have an issue with you shining as well. They live by the adage, which I do. There's enough room for all of us at the top. So I don't. If somebody gave me the information, I just don't feel like right charging you for something I got for free. That, to me, that doesn't just work for me. There's a lot of people think that way. So I think the biggest thing, and Atlanta becomes very motivating if you look at it from the right lens. Black mayor, black police, you see black people around, black people in position. And so it's very like motivating that, okay, if they did it, I can do it too. So I did kind of agree with most of the stuff that the guy was saying in the video. Um, I do think that Atlanta gets all of the pub as far as, black Mecca, where black people can come in and thrive and be successful. But I don't think this is not the only place. A hidden gem that most people don't really pay attention to or really think that way about, that is kind of has great opportunities for black people as well. It's the city of Houston, Texas. And it's just a different vibe. It's a different energy. But a lot of black people, I don't know if it's, especially, coming from Florida in the South, it's quicker to get to Atlanta. You get in the car and get to Atlanta. You can't necessarily do that to Houston. But people don't tap into Houston as much. But Houston has a lot of great opportunities as well. So Don't sleep on what they say H-Town. Don't sleep on H-Town. But Atlanta does get the pub and the publicity and the spotlight, and they're well deserved, But it's more than Atlanta. But I just thought that was interesting. So, but just understand, if you're trying to move to Atlanta, please be aware. Do your research. Do your research on what you're trying to do, cost of living, if you got kids, what school they're gonna be going to. Because the school districts in Metro Atlanta are different. They're different. They're different than probably anywhere you're coming from if you're moving into the area. Understand, be patient when it comes to traffic, because the traffic in Atlanta will humble you. I drive, and that's just crazy to me. If I know I need to be somewhere, I leave early. I was already a defensive driver before I moved to Georgia, and I'm definitely one now, because people have no regard for road etiquette. I mean, they don't believe in using blinkers. They don't believe in using brakes. And so you have to be out there not driving for you, but driving for him, her, them, and because if not, it cannot be good for you. And so personally, I'm not a big highway person, because I don't just wake up and say, let me go get in some traffic if I don't have to. So I have to jump out there every now and then when I go. We my fiance and I, we own some couple vending machines. We have a vending machine company, and when you go to service your machines, I gotta drive to them to service them, to check on them, to restock them, and so I have to be out there in the traffic then, based off where they're at in regards to where I live at. But if I don't have a reason, I'm just not out there just because. And some people love that stuff. I'm just not one of them. So if you're trying about moving to Atlanta, if you're thinking about it, just make sure you do your research, do your due diligence. There's a lot of opportunity, but um, there's a lot of people that came here that unfortunately are side the road or living out their car as well, and have a good enough plan to sustain themselves, because it's not cheap. It's not cheap here. And so just make sure you take care of all that stuff. Coming on a whim, starving artists. I want to go make it. They write movies about people that have done that. Tyler Perry sleeping in the car is a great story. Steve Harvey sleeping in his car is a great story, but everybody don't come out those cars. So just make sure, if that's what you're trying to do, that take care of all. And some of the stuff you kind of got to learn as you go, but at least have your foundation. I mean, having someone to stay and being able to pay bills, obviously, is probably, at the bare minimum, you need to have that, and then you can kind of maneuver and move once you kind of get that in motion. But yeah, Atlanta gets that reputation, and for the most part, it's deserving, based off of the chance to have an opportunity to if you have a dream, you can come to Atlanta and really try to tap into that dream. And there's somebody who has done pretty much everything. And so, like I say, in my experience, most of the people are very forthcoming. They're very, they're very helpful. There's not a crab mentality type of mindset and energy that I've seen, in my time. So yeah, I just, but once again, don't sleep on Houston. If if you're looking for something and Atlanta may not be it, Houston might be. Houston might be the move. Okay. Um. So yeah. So if you are in the United States, if you're not on no rock, you kind of know that we have a new president, and we know he is a businessman first and a president second. And his first couple months in office, we have seen his business acumen on full display, uh, imposing tariffs, playing around with tariffs, signing all these executive orders. I don't know if he's done anything political yet, and I'm not real big on politics as far as discussing them, that politics or religion, because people can get very personal with that stuff. So I kind of stay away from it. But his presidency so far, his decisions are affecting something that I am interested in, and I'm learning and growing and trying to improve with, and that's the stock market. So I've gotten really into learning the stock market, trying to learn options trading because I think that's a way to kind of build your income, build your net worth, and he just he's totally thrown a monkey rich, and I had a good little energy going. I was excited, kind of doing little options trades here and there, doing some swing trading, some day trading. So I was getting very, getting the experience. And then he came in with all these tariffs, and the stock market started doing the roller coaster, and and it just seems to me like it was a play. It was a money grab because you did all that. You trying to reset the market. All his millionaire friends made all this money, so now since they got their money, a little quick jump in, jump out. The whole the double dutch jump rope thing. Now we're back to now you pausing stuff. And it's just he's just so he's so good at what he's doing. He's very good at it. And he has a lot of people that believe in him no matter how bad the economy got, no matter how much the stock market fell out, no matter how much many promises he made, he's not following. They love him. They love him. And the way the stock market went, soared back today once it kind of the news came out about kind of keeping the peace with China or push the pause button, the stocks just so it's like he's a puppet master. He's a puppet master, and I'm just very leery of jumping out there right now because he's so unpredictable. He's so unhinged. He wake up on tomorrow and could put another tariff in place that totally rocks or knocks out what was happening 2 days before that. So what I'm doing right now, I'm just kind of reading and researching and being patient and waiting. So four industries that I'm kind of looking at, me and my investment group. I started an investment group as well with some like-minded people, six couples. We started it probably in the beginning of this year. And so what we're doing right now is, everybody's just kind of we're funding it and we're doing our research. And so in about 6 months, probably about 4 months now, we're going to kind of assess what we want to invest in, what we want to, deal with, what kind of industry, how we want to do it. But we've been just working on financial literacy and just education, just knowing the game. I was telling my son, proud dad, my son just graduated from college in Duquesne University up in Pittsburgh, degree in political science. Started law school in the fall, so very, very proud dad. But I was telling him, I'm saying, man, you got something a lot of us don't have now. You got access. You got access to the information because as black folks, we don't get all the information. We may get it, and if we do get it, we get it later. We get it after they've kind of rinsed and repeated and got what they can get out of it, and then they give us like the scraps. Well, being you graduating from Duquesne, you're in the room because of the connections you've made, the relationships you formed, the friendships you have, and so you have a unique perspective. You're going to get the energy that they already have because you've developed a brotherhood with those guys that's going to last you for a lifetime. So he's in a great situation. He was fortunate to earn a college football scholarship, and thank you to him and Duquesne because my bill is zero. So he's coming out debt free, no loans, played college ball. So I told him, you're in a great situation, man. Just don't take it for granted and always leverage your resources if you have them. And so for me, like I say, I'm doing the research now. So four industries that have really been catching my attention, and I'm just kind of following, tracking, charting, just doing the research, reading up on the companies, just seeing how they perform on the market. The fourth thing is agriculture, real estate, minerals, and aluminum. So those four areas I've kind of been really following. and just looking for an opportunity. But like I say, for me primarily, I've hit the pause button on actually going in and doing the actual stuff, because it's just so volatile. Not the market, but the person that's setting the market, which is uh, Donald Trump. And so I don't know what your um, strategy is. A lot of people are saying they're doing the whole put thing where they're buying the puts because all the companies are dropping, because they were like, at some point they got to rise again. So you buy low, you sell high, and you don't flinch. So some people that just have to be out there, instead of buying calls, instead of buying stocks, they're doing puts. They're dealing with companies that are falling, or they're getting, or like I say, they're jumping in on companies low, which is the way you do it. You buy low, and then when they get to a certain point, you sell high before they crash again. So it's a method to it. It's a science to it. And I'm going to be in YouTube University this summer. So two things I'm going to be learning. I'm just going to front back. I'm YouTube University every day, like I'm back in school. Is stock market strategies and things of that nature, understanding how to read charts and all that stuff, having up the multiple screens, because I know that's money that continue to work for itself. And also, I'm going to learn how to DJ. I'm going to YouTube University. I got a couple of equipment. Like I said, my better half got me a little turntable. I got some speakers, and so I'm going to be working on adding to myself this summer, because I work in the school system. I've been working in the school system. Man, I'm an educator, lifelong educator. This will be my 28th year. And, for years, I just work their job, and I come home and rest and repeat and do it again. Well, I've really gotten a bug about my own. So, like I said, I'm fortunate to have a couple of companies going, a couple of things going. And so I have to, I told myself, if I can work for them for 8 to 9 hours a day, I can come home and work for me. So that's even this right here, getting started with like I say, late night with the Luv Doc, just something I really thought about here in the last day or so. And I just uh, it's no, you just have to start somewhere, right? And so this is the start of somewhere. So I'm sure that I do this, I'll get more, more comfortable with it. We'll kind of set things up, and I don't know, but I just felt like it's something that needed to happen. I need to start, because I got something to say. I'm like ice cream. I got something to say. I'm like Andre Three Stats at the award, Source Awards. I got something to say. So let me talk about it. And hopefully you guys will find value in this as I continue to do it. So I continue to, move forward. And you'll support it, and, be great to have interaction, so we can, kind of talk and chat. But you got to start somewhere. So this is the start of something big. I believe it. I believe in myself. I know God gonna bless it. Provide good information, good content, good conversation, and great energy. Good vibes, dope vibes, and great energy. So, but yeah, the market, I think, is the way to go. But just right now, I'm just trying to stand pat. Some people, I'm a conservative guy. I'm a safe guy by nature. So I'm not real big on the whole aggressive. Some people do that. That's why I can't gamble a lot. Like if I do like a parlay, I never spend more than $10 on a parlay, because I just can't. It doesn't just well with my spirit to lose big money, on a parlay or gambling, sports betting. Some people do that every day. Some people, I know when I first told my son about stock market, he was just like, and isn't that like gambling? Isn't that like playing like, a parlay, doing a parlay or whatever? And in some cases, you like stop and think like, well, you are assuming a risk. You don't know what may happen. The only difference between doing, like, say, options trading and doing sports betting, immediately if you want to bet with sports. So, for example, if you bet on Denver and Cleveland tonight, then you lost because they lost. And so the sports betting is a lot more immediate. You know exactly whether you won or lost. With options trading, it's kind of a time thing. It has time decay in there. And that factors into if you make money or if you lose money. So it's kind of, it is a gamble. I guess everything is a gamble in some shape, form, or fashion, but it's just a little different. And I just like the fact of the stock market. I really just think that there's an opportunity there for me, So, but I gotta be smart. Another industry thing that kind of looking at is real estate. Because real estate, land is the most valuable commodity. If you own land, you always in good shape because land does not depreciate in value. And so, but once again, because of the president, it's just very hard to jump into that real estate. I have one of my former players who's doing a lot of real estate stuff. He's flipping houses, calls himself Mr. Fun to Flip, and so he's very energetic guy. He's a true hustler, and so he's all in with real estate. And some folks jump all in and do very well with it. But as far as investments, I'm not necessarily doing real estate as a whole. I'm doing like REITs, which are real estate investment trust, where you kind of go and you can invest in a variety of companies. Like I use Fundrise, and so I have put funds in there, and they use them to help with real estate projects. So they may have this project out in Plano, Texas, that they're going to be building a apartment complex, and so you go in that, and then once they go through the cycle, they make money, and then they'll give you like the dividends, that kind of stuff. So that's the way I've been doing it. Once again, from a conservative standpoint, not aggressive, because I'm just trying to. I'm okay with the tortoise. I'm okay with being the tortoise. I don't have to be the rabbit. I don't have to get there in a hurry. I'm okay with mine building over time, and so that strategy works for me. It may not work for you, but that's just kind of what I do. So once again, switching gears, like I say, we're talking. This is Love Late Night with the Luv Doc, where we're talking sports, business, and culture. So we've kind of talked a little sports with the NBA playoffs. We've also talked a little business with the stock market, and so for the culture, not sure if you guys have been tapping in. I guess they're just starting, and haven't seen it live. I just been reading tweets and shaking my head. It's the P Trial. Like, oh man, everybody likes to have a good time, right? That's just human nature. But not sure if what I've read so far could be determined as fun, right? Um, Cassie, who used to be with R. Kelly for a long time. I'm not R. Kelly, Lord. P Diddy for a long time. Is on the stand today describing all this stuff, talking about freak offs, hot oil in the hot water, talking about male escorts, urinating her mouth. I'm just like, what in the world? How do you come up with some of this stuff? And it's alleged that P Diddy. I mean, he's having his day in court, but just listen to that. Not listening, reading what that lady wrote today about how it was. Puff Daddy might be in some real trouble. If this is just the beginning of the trial, uh, Puff might be in some trouble. Y'all pray for Puff. Y'all pray for Cassie. Y'all pray for everybody that's been affected. His kid, he got kids, man. He got his mom. They come into court to watch the. So just imagine if you're a son, or a daughter, and you're in the hospital, you're in the courthouse, and you're hearing all this stuff, and they talking about your daddy, your son. That just had. I imagine that had to be a lot. I can imagine, but um, but yeah, it does. To start off, it don't look good. He refused. I think they tried to give him a plea deal. He refused. He wanted his day in court, so he getting it, and it's just. I'm just continually shaking my head like, man, that's just some of that stuff is not even human. But there are allegations, and he's having to stay in court. So I will reserve total judgment, because it is going through the process. But just what I've seen, like I say, by words, I'm just like, oh man, tough, real tough. So summer's coming up. If you're in school, you know that we everybody got about one more week. And so the summer, besides the first of the year, summer is like the biggest time that you see the uptick in people at the gym, people really trying to jump in on this fitness stuff. And so everybody sets goals, right? You got goals and try to work to meet those goals. And I'm no different. So the goal I set for myself is by the end of the summer, I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to lose 20 pounds. And so I'm going to be doing a lot of cardio, walking around the mountains, going to the gym, and almost going to set up like tour days, like back in the day when I used to play football. You get up in the morning and go play football, go practice, and you go do whatever you got to do, and then you got to practice in the evening too. So, excuse me, y'all, past my bedtime. So, what are your fitness goals, man? Y'all let me know in the chat. Y'all let me know on the page. What are you trying to do? So mine, I started off. I'm trying to lose 20 pounds by the end of the summer. That's my goal I've set for myself. I know that my diet's going to have to, kind of help with that. So a lot of watermelon, fruit. I love watermelon. Especially if I can get a Florida watermelon, it'd be great. But a lot of fruit, a lot of water, and I've kind of just become addicted to making these homemade cucumber salads. Oh man, I've essentially taken lettuce out. It's amazing. I don't know how I got to this point, in life and not really tapped into cucumber salads, but healthy eating, a lot of cardio, a lot of water, and hopefully, that's gonna be the end result. So post your health goals, your fitness goals in the chat, and let's be each other's accountability partner. Let's see if we can help each other along the way. We can celebrate the wins because no matter how small they are. I was just telling my son this on our cross country drive back to Florida. I had to pack up a U-Haul with his equipment and his furniture. First of all, I took the same U-Haul, not the same one, but took a U-Haul with stuff up there from here in Georgia up to Pittsburgh for his apartment. And now I've had to load up stuff up and take it down to his new apartment in Florida. So it's been a lot rough. It's been a lot going on for you, boy, for the last couple of days. But hey, what do we? It's our kids. What we do, what we got to do, right? But one thing I was saying to him was that, and I said this also to my fiance: 4 singles still equals 1 home run, right? Some people like to swing for the fence and get a home run. Me, I'm content with the singles at this point in my life. I don't have to. If a home run happens, I get the right pitch and the home run happens, and that's great. But I'm okay with along the way. So I'm giving myself that goal as a whole summer thing. So like May in the summer is like end of July. So I got 2 months. I'm not gonna go crazy if I don't get 20, but I feel like if I have the good habits, that something will happen. And if whatever happens, and one thing this guy said, as I get ready to kind of close and get off of here, the guy that back to the car dealership, his thing was the win is in the doing. So the fact that I'm going to be trying to lose the 20 pounds, the fact that I'm going to be doing the cardio and the weights and the water and the trying to healthy eating, I've already won because however I come out of this, it's not going to be my lifestyle because I'm going to be, I would have done it so much, I'm going to be used to it. So it's hard to go back to something else when you have set up a routine for yourself, when you have set up kind of guidelines for yourself. And so what is it? maybe we can help each other. If you got a way to help me lose these 20 pounds, I'd love to hear it. Other than what I just said, if you tap in with me and you're my accountability partner, I promise I'll tap in with you and be yours as well. Okay. And then at the end of the summer, we can check back in and we're not going to stop. I mean, we're going to do periodic kind of check-ins, maybe like every 2 weeks, maybe every week. I don't know. I don't advise every day because you look at the scale and it's not moving, that can become depressing and you're doing all this work and you just be like, forget it, man. This stuff don't work anyway. So we can figure it out together. We can figure it out together. But that's kind of what I got. So all right, man. Well, that's all we have for our first episode of Late Night with the Luv Doc. Once again, man, you all tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. We're going to be talking sports, business, and culture. Just kind of trying to drive conversation, great vibes, dope energy, talking about current events and topics as they relate, to how we live and how we're affected. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it. Look forward to learning and growing with you all, man, as we continue to elevate, educate, elevate, and resonate. Educate, elevate, and resonate, man. All 2025 and beyond and beyond. So till next time, man, y'all stay low key, stay out the way, be safe, man. And we appreciate y'all, man.